Good evening. Welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. On the programme this evening, the probe into the nightclub Inferno in Goa. A fire that killed at least 25 people on the night of the 6th of this month has uncovered new evidence indicating that the owners, the brothers Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra, booked flight tickets to Thailand at the very moment emergency services were trying to control the blaze and rescue trapped patrons. Officials have confirmed that the Luthra brothers logged on to MakeMyTrip at 1:17 a.m. on the 7th of December, while Goa police and fire services teams were still engaged in rescue operations at the Arpora-based nightclub. Hours later, immigration records show that the two boarded an IndiGo flight to Phuket, departing at 5:30 a.m. In Delhi, the Rohini court heard the transit anticipatory bail plea filed by the brothers. The petition sought 4 weeks of protection from arrest as well as interim relief to allow them to return to Delhi from Thailand without facing immediate custody. Meanwhile, Ajay Gupta, one of the four owners of the Birch by Romeo Lane establishment, was produced before a Delhi magistrate by the Goa police team stationed in Delhi. Gupta had earlier been declared missing, prompting the issuance of a lookout notice. But there's some breaking news now coming in. The External Affairs Ministry has received a communication from the government of Goa with regard to Gaurav Luthra and Saurabh Luthra. The government is examining the request to revoke the passports under the Passports Act of India. That's as per the existing rules. Remember, these men are now in Thailand. The Goa government has appealed to the External Affairs Ministry to withdraw their passports, to revoke their passports as a move to get them back to India sooner than later. Amit Khanna, NDTV's correspondent in Thailand, joins us. He's been reporting from Phuket. We're also joined by my colleague Akil, who's been tracking developments in Goa. Amit, let me come to you first. In light of what the government is now saying, that they've appealed to the External Affairs Ministry, right, to requesting them to revoke the passports under the Passport Act of India, do you believe it's part of a process which might actually speed up their return from Thailand once they're caught?
No, so it might create further complications with the Thai authorities once the passport is suspended. Because, again, the Indian embassy will have to intervene and issue a special document for them to travel back to India.
Amit, do we have any idea whether these men have been detained or will be detained soon?
No, they have been detained. This is unconfirmed sources, but like I said, the silence is so loud that it is confirmed that they have been detained.
All right, so there's a possibility over there. What exactly is the legal process now going forward?
So the legal process is there are two options. If the government chooses to extradite them, that's a very long process. It goes into months. But deportation will require a single hearing by the judge at Bangkok court, and they'll be deported within 6 to 7 days.
Now, there's a blue corner notice from Interpol, Amit, which becomes a red corner notice eventually. Is that an alternate way of getting these people to be brought back to India?
No, I think there are only two ways. One is the extradition and the other one is deportation. So deportation is a smarter choice for Indian government.
Why is that the case?
Because it requires very, very few days. Like I said, a single hearing by the magistrate and detention for a few days in Bangkok and then flight back to India on their expenses.
Akil, the fact that these men have appealed to a court in Delhi saying that they want some protection and that they are willing to come back, what are the implications of that from a legal standpoint?
Well, absolutely. Today, what we have seen that an anticipatory bail plea was filed, and tomorrow the court is going to again hear this matter. And from the side of the from the side of the accused, what we have seen that Advocate Siddharth Luthra was basically defending it. And so, if you see what we have seen that so far the investigation of this entire case was concerned. Today, Mr. Gupta was taken back from New Delhi to Goa by evening flight at around 7 p.m. So if you see, they have landed in Goa. Right now, the interrogation of these two individuals will again continue. And prior to that, if you see, Vishnu, what we have seen that when the Goa police team was busy rescuing those people who have got trapped in that blaze. The accused were preparing to flee for the country from the country, because at that point in time when that incident took place at around 17 a.m., both the brothers basically booked the flight and then fled the country at around 5:30 a.m. early in the morning.
Amit, you mentioned the phrase, the silence is glaring at this stage, and as we wait for more confirmations on whether or not these two men have been detained in Thailand, do we expect the police or Thai authorities to address the media?
I think that is likely to happen in Bangkok, not in Phuket. I'm barely 100 meters away from the police station where these brothers, the accused, will be brought in any time.
And what you are saying at this stage is that this could actually take place tonight itself?
Anytime.
All right. So that's a big development over there at this stage. Our colleague Amit Khanna from Thailand in Phuket right now, indicating that there may be indicators of these two men being in the custody of authorities in Thailand. We are waiting for further confirmation. We are waiting for Thai authorities to say something, and perhaps a press conference as well. We are not getting ahead of ourselves, but that is a suspicion. It has been one throughout the day. But here on NDTV, we are being careful as we report this news, because it is a strong and potentially long legal process that we need to be careful about at this juncture. Let me just go back to Akhil for a few more details on this. From a legal standpoint, what is the next step ahead? There is a lot of evidence which has been collected, for example, in Goa on the nature of the illegal structure. Is there any progress in police investigations on how this permission was granted in the first place? Because, Akhil, it's not just these men who own the property. Somebody allowed them to build it, right? Who was that someone?
That's right, Vishnu. If you see, the Goa police has basically made strong objections in the court. And while we have been seeing that in this very case, there's one more person who is a key accused in this case, and that person has been identified as Mr. Khosla. So Khosla is still at large. If you see, out of the 4 owners of that very club, what we have seen, that 2 brothers, Gaurav Luthra, elder brother, is still at large. Younger brother, Saurabh Luthra, he's still at large. So if you see, Mr. Khosla was the person who basically has given that property on lease. So right now, it's a very big concern for the agencies to nab this very accused. So once that person will be arrested, then things will become much more clearer that for how long they have given this space for lease. So there are some questions which are still unanswered. So right now, what we have seen that Mr. Gupta has already been arrested. So it's very likely that during the interrogation of Gupta, few things will come out.
All right, Akhil, thanks very much. And Amit, we'll keep coming back to you. Thanks very much indeed. But a few more details on the plea of the Luthra brothers in the court in Rohini in Delhi. They say, we are victims too, and that they're concerned and hurt by the incident. If they are concerned and hurt, why did they get on that flight, booking tickets on MakeMyTrip, and then flee to Phuket? They say in their plea they cannot impose criminal liability on us. That's their argument. It has to stand in a matter of in the courts. And many questions would be asked on why criminal liability cannot be imposed on them, given the fact that they own that facility in which 25 people were killed. We weren't present during the fire, yes, but you own that establishment. It was built illegally, according to documents and reports. How then are you not accountable? We don't oversee day-to-day operations. Again, in a property which is in your name, which you own, do you not have any liability? Particularly since apparently fire safety norms were not followed. There are reports which suggest that this was built on a tract of land which was not meant to have this kind of operation in the first place. Therefore, again, what is your liability? Liability lies with other partners and managers. So that's what they have to say. If they were so convinced of this, why did they run away from the country, and that the case is not fit for trial? So these are their arguments. I'm now joined by Advocate Rohit Brasdesai. He's an advocate in the High Court in Goa. Vikram Singh, Dr. Vikram Singh, former Director General of Police, and Neelam Krishnamurthy, who spent her lifetime almost fighting for the justice of fire victims. She lost her children during the Upahar tragedy, and this is a horrific fire incident that we should never forget. Advocate Rohit Brasdesai, let me come to you first. I'm just trying to understand if any of the arguments mentioned by the Luthra brothers, in your opinion, would stand in court. They basically are saying that we weren't there at the time, we don't monitor day-to-day functioning, and therefore we aren't liable. From a legal standpoint, does that make sense?
See, I'll tell you, we have documentation with us which clearly reveals that these persons very well knew that the structure that was being occupied by them, constructed by them, was erected on a salt pan. Now, this salt pan is basically a CRZ 1B area under the CRZ regulations. No constructions whatsoever can be built, erected on these salt pans. Now, we have also, in fact, on 4th of November 2025, we had intimated all the statutory authorities, that is the State of Goa Chief Secretary, the Town and Country Planning through the Chief Town Planner. We also intimated the Block Development Officer, the Directorate of Panchayat, Village Panchayat, the Collector, and the Fire Department, informed them that the structures erected on the salt pan, that was basically structures basically like an underground basement in a water body, and coupled with several other structures in open spaces, etc., were constructed without any permission, licenses whatsoever. And that more so, there was no completion order given by the technical clearance there was no completion order given by the Town and Country Planning Department, and or occupancy certificate given by the Village Panchayat and the Town and Country Planning Department to enable them to occupy the premises. Now, these individuals knew very well that right up from the start, that let us take the date as 4th November when we informed the statutory authorities that these structures could not have been occupied without an occupancy certificate. Nevertheless, when the law is very clear, the Goa building regulations specifically state under section 3.11 that no structure can be occupied without an occupancy certificate, leave alone any commercial establishment or operation.
All right,
now,
so just give me 1 second. I want to go across to Neelam Krishnamurthy. Ma'am, at the end of the day, this is a horrific fire. You have fought for justice for the victims of Upahar, including your own children who were killed in that horrific fire, for 30 plus years. My question to you is, 30 years later, more than 30 years later, 25 people have just died in a fire incident because obviously fire regulations were not maintained. In all these decades of fighting for justice, fighting to ensure that there are rights, that fire regulations are followed, do you sometimes believe that no one cares? This is just something that no one cares about. No one thinks about fire regulations. It's not there in any consciousness. The rules are just flouted left, right, and center.
Absolutely, Vishnu. In fact, it always brings back a painful sense of deja vu each time I see a fire incident. And I can say that nothing has changed in the last 28 years. And I feel bad. I really feel defeated at times because the whole purpose why I started this entire the fight for justice, it was just not only for me, because my children I know are not going to come back. But what I wanted to ensure was that no other parent has to lose the child because owners and occupiers are going to flout the fire safety norms and endanger the lives of the paying public. But unfortunately, I failed because the government doesn't take this seriously at all. Fire safety in our country is not taken seriously. We call ourselves the world's 4th largest economy, yet we still fail to accord even the basic importance to fire safety. Please tell me why. We have no value of human life in our country. And I was just listening to what the reporter from the court was saying, what are the arguments that were advanced. And I'm so shocked. Most of the fire tragedies, I find the similarities, okay, there was a short circuit, there's a fire, and there was no means of escape. Unfortunately, in this case, even the arguments of the defense counsels are exactly the same what were there in Upahar. It looks to be a leaf out of the Upahar judgment, where the counsel had argued we did not have day-to-day control. We were just the licensee. We were not present at the time of the incident. I mean, they're just adopting the same arguments what the Ansal brothers had done.
So therefore, ma'am, on the basis of your case, where the Ansal brothers were ultimately jailed, and the arguments which have been stated that, we weren't there, it's not our responsibility, we weren't monitoring it. Yes. If a court has in the past thrown that aside, and jail the Ansal brothers as what took place in the Upahar case? Is there not legal precedent now for these arguments to be thrown aside on the basis of the judgment in the Upahar case, and these men to be potentially jailed?
Absolutely, because these are the reasons, because they were found to be in day-to-day control. The financial control was with them. All the deviations, violations, permissions were sought by the Ansal brothers themselves. It is not the manager who does all this for them. Who is profiteering from them? The Luthra brothers. In that case, it was the Ansal brothers. So why should the manager be jailed? Give me one reason.
Yeah.
So the Supreme Court has upheld this, that they were responsible for the day-to-day management. Since the complete financial control was there, they must seize all the documents which pertain to the company. Go to the ROC, take out all the documents, and see the memorandum of understanding and the minutes what they have, the annual meetings, annual general meetings, and whatever meetings they have. See, they'll have all the powers. And I feel very strongly that in this case, anticipatory bail should not be granted to them, because what we have seen in Upahar case, Ansals managed to tamper with the very documents which were nailing them, the financial control, the checks, which he issued, a 50 lakh check, when he said I had nothing to do with the company. Then the minutes of the MD's conference. These are the documents that were tampered with, which ultimately they were again convicted for the second time. So I feel if these people are allowed to come out on bail, they will not even let they'll compromise with the police authorities even to seize these documents. They will not even let those documents come on record for the trial. That is where they'll be successful. So I think it's all the more reason they should not be granted bail, no matter what the defense counsel says. Nobody ever says, yes, I'm responsible.
Okay.
So the courts must be
I just
very
want to
heavily.
go across to Dr. Singh. Certain cases like this, we often do not look at the larger picture. I agree with every word that Neelam Krishnamurthy says. I've agreed with every word she's said for the last 28 years. But I do believe there is something that needs to be said about authorities, whether it's in the government or the municipality, right, who gave these permissions, whether they were bought over or whether they were, or they flouted the law or they didn't know the law. This is rampant, right? We may be talking about getting these men back, and perhaps they will be brought back. But do you believe more needs to be done to track down people in Goa, for example, who do this, who flout these norms, who say that, हाँ, बना दो, पैसा दो, बात खत्म?
Vishnu ji.
Sorry, sir, we've got some network. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Okay, sorry, sir, we'll fix that line. We'll come back to you in half a second. Let me go back to Neelam Krishnamurthy. Ma'am, would you like to take that question? The authorities.
Yes.
Not just the owners.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Authorities equally responsible. And let me say, with complete responsibility, that I can say this, that the corruption rate in this country has gone up. It hasn't come down. Earlier, the NOC was issued, available for thousands. In between 2000 and 2010, it came up to about lakhs. And now NOCs, they're being paid they're paying about crore for getting NOC. And let me tell you this was told to me by a fire official. He says, madam, for the work you have done, I have to very humbly tell you something, that what has happened now is that the rate of the NOCs have gone up. Because now they're saying the risk involved is more, and moreover, even the cost of construction has gone up. The buildings are now crores.
Okay, ma'am, just hold on. We've got Dr. Vikram Singh's line back. Sir, we lost your line. Go ahead with what you were saying.
I was saying that perhaps the Luthras have deep pockets, and it would be, living in a fool's paradise if we were to believe for a moment that they will be able to the government would be able to nail them. They purchased the panchayat, the inspecting authorities, and all the inspecting without exception. The Gram Panchayats, the fire service, the administration, every inspections and the NOCs are a farce, and everything has been managed and purchased by the Luthra brothers. And they seem to have a buffer, and they're convincing that they are not responsible. There's something in law known as fiduciary relationship, contractual liability. They jolly well face the music because they are fully 100% responsible for what has happened.
So how difficult, Dr. Singh, do you believe it will be to bring these men back from Thailand? We have an extradition treaty with them. There's Interpol as well. Do you believe it's just a matter of time?
I think it should not be difficult. It is deportation and extradition are administrative procedures, but sending them a blue notice and a red corner notice are quasi-judicial. Therefore, the deportation would be expeditious, and I think it's perfectly doable. We have working relations with Thailand, and we should be able to get them back.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you all both very much for being with us. Thank you. And we'll track this very closely. The possibility of detention of these two men, the Luthra brothers in Thailand, is a strong possibility. Some reports suggest anytime. We are waiting for more confirmations on that. For the moment, we're going to focus on the other big story, IndiGo, on a day in which the government actually said that senior officials of the Directorate General of Civil Aviation and the Civil Aviation Ministry will be deputed to IndiGo to go into their offices, their headquarters, and actually understand the functioning of the airline. At the same time, the chairperson of IndiGo spoke out today. Let's listen in to what he said.
Over the past week, our airline has faced major operational disruptions that have affected many of our valued customers personally. On 3rd December, an unexpected chain of events led to large-scale flight cancellations. This continued into 4th and 5th December. Thousands of our passengers were left stranded. Many missed important family events, business commitments, medical appointments, and international connections. Baggage was delayed or misdirected. I know how much distress this has caused. I want to say very simply and very clearly, we are sorry. For the last several days, I have been urged to make a statement. However, I chose to wait because the board and I felt that our first duty was to support the CEO of IndiGo, Peter Elbers, and his team, restore operations and help passengers who were affected.
All right, we'll keep tracking that story very closely. For the moment, it's time for us to take a short break. But again, the big story that we continue to track, the developments in Thailand with the Luthra brothers and the question of when they'll be brought back to India. Will they be detained anytime soon? That's something that we're looking at very, very closely.